The dashboard clock in my Civic glowed a toxic neon green. 3 a.m. "This is it," Tyler whispered from the passenger seat, wiping his sweaty palms on his jeans. "The witching hour. If we're going to do it, we do it now." I cut the engine, plunging the car into silence. In the back seat, Sarah was already shaking, her knuckles white as she gripped the door handle. There were 3 of us. Tyler, the reckless instigator. Sarah, who only came because she was terrified of being left out. And me, the idiot who drove the getaway car. We were parked just outside the perimeter of Lincoln High, a building that looked less like a school and more like a brutalist concrete bunker. The architecture of the place was famously oppressive. It was a perfect, rigid box designed by an architect obsessed with symmetry. There were 3 main entrances: north, east, and west. The building rose exactly 3 floors high, and in a design choice that felt almost claustrophobic, every single hallway was identical, feeding into exactly 3 large classrooms on each level. "We go in through the north entrance," I said, reciting the plan to calm my own nerves. "We go up to the 3rd floor, grab the answer key from the prep room, and we leave. 10 minutes. "I heard the rumors are true," Sarah murmured, her voice trembling. "About the teachers." "Shut up, Sarah," Tyler snapped, though his voice lacked its usual bite. "The district cut the budget. They don't hire security guards anymore. They just pay a few insomniac teachers extra cash to grade papers at night and walk the halls. It's just Mr. Henderson, and maybe the gym coach. They'll be asleep in the lounge." We stepped out into the freezing night air. The school loomed above us, a gray monolith against the black sky. We slipped through the broken chain-link fence and approached the north entrance. Tyler used his credit card on the latch, a trick he'd spent weeks perfecting. And with a soft click, the heavy steel door swung open. The smell hit us first. Floor wax, stale locker room sweat, and something metallic, like old pennies. We were in the main vestibule. The silence was absolute, but it felt heavy, like the air pressure had dropped. To our left was the stairwell. "Let's move," I whispered. We hadn't taken 5 steps when I saw the first sign that something was wrong. At the far end of the hallway, near the east entrance, a single figure was standing. It was Mr. Albright, the history teacher. He was usually a jovial man who wore sweater vests and told bad jokes, but at 3 a.m., standing in the dark, he looked different. He was facing the wall, just standing there, rigid, his forehead pressed against the concrete blocks. "Is he sleeping?" Sarah breathed. "He's drunk." Tyler dismissed it, though he pulled us into the shadows of the stairwell. Just a sad, drunk teacher working the night shift. "Come on." We crept up the stairs to the 2nd floor. The air up here felt colder. This was the floor for English and math. Again, the layout was maddeningly simple. 1 long corridor, 3 doors on the left, 3 windows on the right. As we reached the landing, we heard a sound that froze my blood. It was a rhythmic, wet thwack, like meat hitting a counter. Thwack, thwack, thwack. "What is that?" I mouthed. We peeked around the corner. Down the hall, Mrs. Gable, the librarian, was walking slowly. She wasn't walking like a person on patrol. She was marching. Every 3rd step, she would stop and slap a heavy wooden ruler against her palm. Step, step, stop, smack. Step, step, stop, smack. She was staring straight ahead, her eyes wide and unblinking, glassy in the dim emergency lights. She wasn't looking for students. She looked like she was in a trance. "That's 2, Sarah whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "Albright downstairs. Gable here. Who's on the 3rd floor?" "Doesn't matter," Tyler hissed, but he was gripping my arm now, his fingers digging in. "We just need to get the key and go. The prep room is on the 3rd floor, right above us. We take the east stairwell, avoid Gable, and we're out." We moved low, crawling under the trophy cases, timing our movements to the rhythm of Mrs. Gable's ruler. When we reached the far stairwell, we bolted up to the third floor. This was where things went from strange to terrifying. The third floor was the science wing, 3 labs: biology, chemistry, physics. The silence here was different. It wasn't empty, it was waiting. We crept toward the middle classroom where the prep room was located. I reached for the handle, my hand shaking. Click. The door was locked. "Damn it!" Tyler cursed. "Pick it." "I can't pick a deadlock, Tyler." "Shh," Sarah hissed, spinning around. "Listen." From the stairwell we had just come up, we heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, clump, clump, clump. Then, from the stairwell at the other end of the hall, the one leading down to the north entrance, we heard it too. The tapping of a ruler. Smack, smack, smack. And then, the door to the third classroom, the physics lab at the end of the hall, creaked open. Out stepped Coach Miller. He was a massive man, usually seen blowing a whistle and yelling about hustle. But tonight, he was wearing his gray sweatsuit, and in his hand he held a heavy, rusted pipe wrench. He didn't look surprised to see us. He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his dead, shark-like eyes. "3 little mice," Coach Miller whispered. His voice was raspy, like he hadn't spoken in days. "Run," I said. "Where?" Sarah sobbed. "They're on both stairs." Coach Miller took a step toward us, then another. He wasn't rushing. He knew he had time. "Into the bio lab," I yelled, shoving Tyler and Sarah toward the first door. We scrambled inside the biology classroom and slammed the door, locking it just as a heavy weight slammed against the wood from the outside. Boom. "Open up, students," Coach Miller's voice came through the door, calm and mocking. "Detention starts at 3 o'clock. We backed away, knocking over stools. The room was bathed in blue moonlight. "We're trapped," Tyler hyperventilated, sliding down the wall. "We're trapped on the 3rd floor." "The window," I said, rushing to the glass. "We can climb down." I looked down. It was a sheer drop to the concrete. But that wasn't what stopped me. Down below, in the courtyard, Mr. Albright was standing directly under our window. He was looking up, his head tilted back at an unnatural angle, watching us. As soon as he saw me, he pointed a finger up at the glass. 1. Behind us, the door handle rattled violently. 2. "Guys," Sarah whimpered. She was pointing at the ceiling. One of the acoustic tiles was sliding back. A face appeared in the dark square hole. Mrs. Gable. She had crawled through the ceiling ducts from the hallway. She was looking down at us, that ruler clenched in her teeth like a bone. 3. They aren't guarding the school, I realized, the horror washing over me cold and absolute. They're hunting. Mrs. Gable dropped from the ceiling, landing with a heavy thud on the teacher's desk. She didn't look human anymore. Her movements were jerky, arachnid. Tyler grabbed a microscope and hurled it at her. It shattered against the wall, but it distracted her long enough. "The prep room door," I shouted. "It connects the classrooms." We scrambled through the connecting door into the chemistry lab, just as the main door to the bio lab splintered open under Coach Miller's wrench. We were running through the rooms now, breaking the symmetry, creating chaos. We burst into the hallway from the chemistry lab. Coach Miller was right behind us, swinging the wrench. It missed Tyler's head by an inch, smashing into a locker with a deafening clang. "The west stairwell!" I screamed. "We haven't checked the west stairwell." It was our only gamble. We sprinted toward the 3rd staircase. My lungs burned. I could hear the heavy breathing of the coach behind us, and the skittering, tapping sound of Mrs. Gable crawling on the floor. We hit the stairs and practically fell down them, tumbling over each other. 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor. We crashed into the west exit door. It was chained shut. "No, no, no," Sarah screamed, clawing at the chains. "Move," Tyler yelled. He grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and smashed it against the glass panel of the door. Once, twice, 3 times. The glass shattered. The cold night air rushed in. We scrambled through the jagged hole, cutting our hands and knees, tumbling out onto the wet grass. We didn't look back until we reached the car. I fumbled with the keys, dropped them, picked them up, and jammed them into the ignition. The engine roared to life. As I peeled out of the parking lot, my tires smoking, Sarah let out a scream. Look at the windows." I looked in the rearview mirror. The school stood silent and gray, but in the center window of each floor, a light was on. On the first floor window, Mr. Albright stood waving slowly. On the second floor window, Mrs. Gable pressed her face against the glass. On the third floor window, Coach Miller was drawing a finger across his throat. We drove in silence for 20 minutes before anyone spoke. "We don't talk about this," Tyler whispered, staring straight ahead, his bravado gone forever. "We never went there tonight." I nodded, but I knew it didn't matter. Now, whenever I'm in class and the clock ticks toward 3 p.m., I see them watching me. And every time I pass 3 teachers standing together in the hallway, they stop talking. They just smile, and they wait for the sun to go down,